There's a part of you you don't show the world. A part you keep hidden, even from yourself. It's the anger you say you don't have, but that suddenly explodes in traffic. It's the jealousy you dismiss, yet it quietly eats at you when someone else succeeds. It's the shame that whispers late at night, reminding you of things you thought you'd forgotten. We all carry this, every single one of us. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, called this hidden dimension the shadow. Not because it is evil, but because it lives in the dark, outside the light of our awareness, and like a shadow cast by the sun, it follows us everywhere, even when we pretend it isn't there. Most of us grow up believing that personal growth means polishing what's good in us and cutting away what's bad. We learn to present the best version of ourselves, the polite smile, the hardworking image, the responsible adult. But beneath the surface, the brain doesn't simply delete what we don't like. Neuroscience shows us that the circuits for fear, desire, anger, and aggression are not mistakes. They are ancient survival systems, built into us through thousands of years of evolution. To deny them is not to erase them. It is to push them deeper down. And what we push down doesn't stay quiet forever. It comes back in strange ways, as anxiety that has no clear cause, as projection, judging others harshly for traits we secretly fear in ourselves, as self-sabotage, where we destroy the very things we say we want. The Stoics understood this long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not saying to suppress your darker emotions. He was reminding us to see them, to own them, to be honest with ourselves. Freedom is not pretending that we are only light. It is learning to walk with our darkness without being consumed by it. Think of your shadow like an old instrument sitting in a dusty attic. You can ignore it, let it rot, and pretend it doesn't exist. But something will always feel missing in your life's music. Or you can bring it down, clean it, and tune its strings. And suddenly, you discover that it adds depth and richness to your song. Anger, when brought into awareness, can transform into courage. Envy, when understood, can reveal your hidden desires. Shame, when faced, can become the root of deep empathy. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. The Stoics understood this long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not saying to suppress your darker emotions. He was reminding us to see them, to own them, to be honest with ourselves. Freedom is not pretending that we are only light. It is learning to walk with our darkness without being consumed by it. Think of your shadow like an old instrument sitting in a dusty attic. You can ignore it, let it rot, and pretend it doesn't exist. But something will always feel missing in your life's music. Or you can bring it down, clean it, and tune its strings. And suddenly, you discover that it adds depth and richness to your song. Anger, when brought into awareness, can transform into courage. Envy, when understood, can reveal your hidden desires. Shame, when faced, can become the root of deep empathy. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. Astrology gives us a symbolic mirror for this. For example, those with a Scorpio moon are often described as carrying emotional depth like a locked vault. To the outside world, they may appear calm, collected, even mysterious, but inside, storms move. That vault is not a curse. It is a hidden treasure chest. When opened carefully, it reveals resilience, truth, and emotional power that surface-level living could never touch. And whether or not you have Scorpio in your chart, we all carry a Scorpio moon inside us. That deep emotional place where feelings are buried, waiting for us to be brave enough to look within. Modern psychology agrees. Studies on identity show that people who embrace both their strengths and their flaws live more resilient lives than those who cling only to a polished image. The paradox is this: when we dare to accept the parts of ourselves we are most afraid of, we don't become weaker, we become stronger. Integration, not perfection, is the real path of growth. But here's the tricky part. The shadow doesn't show up when we sit quietly with a notebook trying to analyze it. It reveals itself in our stories. It comes out in the patterns that keep repeating in our lives, in the kinds of people we strongly dislike for no reason, in the arguments that circle back again and again, in the emotions that rise at the worst possible times. If you follow the thread, you'll see. It always leads back to something unacknowledged within yourself. Neuroscience calls this predictive processing. Your brain doesn't just respond to reality, it predicts it based on what it already knows, expects, or fears. Which means that if your shadow is left unexamined, it won't just stay inside you, it will bend your entire perception of the world. You won't just carry the shadow. You'll start to see it everywhere, painted across your relationships, your work, and your future. But this is not a message of despair. In fact, it's the most hopeful truth of all. Because the moment you stop running from your shadow, the moment you turn toward it with curiosity instead of fear, the transformation begins. The alchemists of old spoke about turning lead into gold. To many, it sounded like a fairy tale about metal. But in truth, it was always about the soul. The lead is the heavy, painful weight of what we repress. The gold is the wisdom, strength, and compassion that emerge when we face it. So ask yourself gently, what part of me do I hide? What qualities in others trigger me most? What emotions do I pretend not to feel? Beneath those answers lies the doorway to integration, not an enemy, but a forgotten ally. Now imagine for a moment if we all did this work. If instead of polishing the masks we wear, we allowed ourselves to be seen in our fullness, light and shadow, strength and flaw. How would our relationships change? How much compassion would we have for others, knowing that we too have carried the same hidden struggles? How much energy would we free up if we stopped wasting it fighting against what we truly are? The path to wholeness is not about constant light. It is about the dance between light and shadow. To integrate is to stand in the middle of both, not blinded by brightness, not lost in darkness, but awake. And perhaps that is what Jung meant when he said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your shadow is not here to punish you, it is here to complete you. The day you turn toward it with courage and compassion is the day you stop living as half a self and begin living as whole.